Okay, hello everybody. We are spoiled with authors visiting us today, and we're chatting with Caroline Kepnes, who received huge critical acclaim for her first book, You, with its anti-hero Joe Goldberg, a despicable character who we couldn't help rather liking despite ourselves. It was a thrilling, creepy, and sinister book that even managed to scare the master of horror himself, Stephen King. Now Caroline's back with her second novel, Hidden Bodies, and it's as creepily clever as the first. So, Caroline, tell us about your books.
Joe Goldberg is someone you can know in a book, but who you would probably be afraid of in real life. He is a bookseller, he is sympathetic and sweet, and all he wants is love, and he loves all the movies you love, but he kills people. So that's the deal breaker, they call it.
So he's a serial killer. He's pretty old.
He's killed. I can't think of him that way. I mean, you're right technically, but he's someone who meets terrible people and then he copes with them by killing them. In his mind, he's sparing them. So he's sort of like a veterinarian for humans. But yes, he is a serial killer. It's just I feel I'm betraying him when I say that.
So why is he so appealing? He's clearly charmed you.
Because he's very smart and literate, and there is so much good there, and it's like so many of my favorite characters over the years that I've loved. He's so close to being terrific, but...
And he's a very, very literary hero, which is unusual. Are we just suckers for a good book lover?
I think so, and I mean, too, you think about who would be your dream person, your dream man. To me, it would be someone who's this well-read and sensitive, and this is like the underbelly of sensitivity. But when someone reads a lot, and we see all those studies all the time about how reading encourages empathy, and yet here he is so well-read, and it encourages him to commit murder. So I like turning that, upside down a little.
So your first book that featured Joe, You, was praised by Stephen King, who said it was hypnotic and scary. So you managed to scare Stephen King. That's a pretty big deal. So what was it like for you with the writing process? What was it like living in that dark world? That's where I feel like a sicko, because I was just smiling the whole time. And when you go to these events and a lot of people meet me, they expect me to be gothy, and they always say, why are you? So, you're a smiling person? I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I'm a sicko, but not really. But, the whole time I was writing it, I was laughing. I got a kick out of it. It felt very alive to me, and it was really enjoyable. So for me, I've always been afraid of monsters, like the Babadook and the unknown, but Joe ultimately isn't scary to me, which is where when I see that word, I'm still like, oh. So Joe doesn't scare you, that's... No, not... that's comforting, definitely. So, there's a lot of, one of the books is in New York, one of the books is in LA. Where does your loyalty lie between those cities? Oh God, I can say that I started writing the first one when I'd been away from LA and I got back, and whenever that happens I start romanticizing New York and missing the subway and the Sex and the City of it all, and I was like, okay, I want to write something about New York so I remember it's just not all that great. And then in the second book, I love them both for such different reasons. I'm a walker, so I love New York for the walking, but I don't like walking in snow and slush. It's more the slush than the snow. Snow is great and pretty for 10 minutes, and then disgusting. But LA, everyone is so isolated in cars, and it's just such a different spread out atmosphere. So how does Joe feel about them? Which, if he had to choose, where do you think he's a typical person where he thinks he's Mr. New York and looks down on LA and all these people aspiring to things, and then he gets there and yeah, LA is charming. Even for Joe. What about dating? New York, LA. Oh God, I don't know where to begin. New York to me was always the most natural place to date because you meet someone somewhere. It's built that way, and you don't feel like someone's disservicing you if they don't pick you up. But in LA, it's this, now we have Uber, so you get in a car to go meet someone, but you're going from stranger to stranger. And before that, I've had a few interesting, scary experiences in cars. And then I'm like, if I lived in New York, this wouldn't happen. And hi guys, if you're watching. So Joe sort of starts off very anti-aspiration and then changes his tune a little bit. Tell us about how his character changes. I think it's something I love about LA, that it's very childlike in the hope and the wonder, and a lot of improv and a lot of people daring to pursue their dreams. It's that Muppets Take Manhattan kind of quality. And it's contagious, and I like that he gets there and feels put off by it, but then sees what a great way to go through life. It's part of LA is the only place where it's okay to be I'm this, but I'm that, and where nobody blinks at it, and it's almost expected. As opposed to if you lived in some place without that atmosphere, if you started to say, I'm going to be a dancer, everyone would look at you like you're crazy. So what's up next for Joe? What's up next for you? I've been working on a new Joe book, and he has a lot more to do. I just don't want to give anything away, but yes, he has big
He has plans, and he has a new enemy he will meet who will challenge him.
But he's still not scaring you.
No, because I'm on his side a lot. Not when he pulls the trigger, and I think that's the difference. Like, we've all casually said, I could kill that person, or I wish that they would die. But I, of course, would never in real life, but to me, that's what's interesting about him as a character. Like, so much of, and what I hear from people all the time is like, I relate to him until he does that we all would never do. And then before that, I have a new book, a standalone, a real horror love story.
So, we've been chatting with Caroline Kepnes, who's not a killer at all,
No.
even though they don't scare her, but maybe her anti-hero Joe Goldberg will scare you. So head to our website at betterreading.com.au, check out Caroline's books, and see if you're scared. Thanks, Caroline.
Thank you.